Welcome to DSC, I am Dom. In this video, I'm going to answer a bunch of your art questions that you submitted to me from ask@domrabrun.com, also on IG and on Twitter. Before we get into this, I want to remind you that the best ways to support me right now are to go to domrabrun.com/shop, pick up some merch, pick up some fire prints, like this K-Dot one. All of the merch and prints and art on my site that are up for purchase go through the 3-demon process, which ensure quality. They ensure that evil necromancers and rogue necromancers and dark wizards and warriors and barbarians don't get a hold of your purchase on the way to your home. The 3-demon process. It's patented. I made it. I invented it. Patreon.com/domrabrun is another great way for you all to support what I am doing. Patrons today, right now, also got access to a behind-the-scenes video of how I made this animation that you're seeing right behind me. So if you're interested in that sort of content, hearing me go a little more stream of consciousness in terms of why I'm making these things, how I'm making them, that sort of thing, it's on Patreon right fucking now. All right, let's get into it and answer some questions. We got a bunch of questions from IG. We had some questions from ask@domrabrun.com, and we had some questions from Twitter. The majority of them came from IG, so I'm gonna start with those. Q&O asked, what's your thoughts on AI generated art? Do you see it impacting creators in the future? My thoughts on AI generated art. I think that AI can only go so far in terms of creating art. I think AI and robots and computer software have to be taught how to make art. They have to be taught what is appealing to humans visually. I think that stuff is very teachable and learnable by anyone. I do think there's a limit to whether or not it's going to be good or whether or not it's going to be emotionally deep or emotionally enriching. Like, I don't know that an AI would ever be able to capture the zeitgeist and create something that is really deeply connecting on a human level, because AI obviously aren't human. I definitely see it impacting creators in the future, mostly in a negative way. I would see artists potentially changing their style to match the AI to sort of figure out if they can compete with it. Because you're already seeing this kind of thing on social media where you see a certain kind of image get likes. You see certain kind of styles get likes more, get shared more, all that sort of stuff. So it sort of changes everyone's style to sort of, if you are a red-blooded, warm-blooded human and are affected by these things that we're all discussing the social dilemma, I foresee artists changing to sort of match whatever the AI is determined is successful. Great question, Q&O. Thank you for that. Ever on Instagram asked, if you had to place your bets on one animal to take over the world, which would it be? One animal to take over the world. It would probably be I think one of those giant squids that are super deep beneath the ocean in those uncharted parts that we haven't gone to yet. Like some Cthulhu-like being. Maybe we don't even know most of what's down there. So there might be some lizard creature that's creating its own helmet and like depressurized helmet system so it can come out and destroy us all. So I would say some giant squid. Dougie the Great on IG said, how do you come up with concepts for a piece? Concepts for a piece. Usually I kind of just start with mark making and I just listen to all the ideas that are in my head already. I don't have trouble with coming up with new ideas. That's something that is always plentiful for me and has always been plentiful. I am always thinking of stories and ideas and original characters, and it's not difficult for me to come up with a concept. What's difficult for me is sitting down and executing it and then sharing it. But yeah, the short answer to that is I just listen to whatever ideas are floating around in my head, which are an accumulation of whatever I've consumed probably over the last weeks and months. Thank you for that question. Great Hat on IG asked, what is an album that you can always go back to? Album that I can always go back to. Depression Cherry, Beach House. Depression Cherry is... It feels almost like going to a friend's house or something. There's such a space in my head that's been built from that album that I can listen to that album front to back so many times. Depression Cherry, major, amazing album. I cannot say enough about Depression Cherry. It's great. It's fantastic. It'll have you feeling melancholy a little bit, but sometimes energetic. It has all of those things. Even though it's very slow paced, I think there are highs and lows in it. It's just complete. It's great. Love it. Depression Cherry by Beach House. TW Illustrator asked, what are 2 objects that you'd take on a trip to the afterlife? My Pain Forest Dream Shard that I got in Flamagra, the Drawing to Flamagra video, I would take that. If I'm going to the afterlife, you're saying that, I mean, this is supernatural. If we're going to supernatural realm, then I want my spell book. My level 5 necromancy spell book I'll be taking with me to the afterlife. So yeah, the Dream Shard, which is a technological thing from this post-apocalyptic mega corporation that I invented, and a necromancy book. Thank you for those questions from IG. Fantastic. We got another one from Oscar Joyo, fantastic artist. Asked if I felt the same way about the Life of Pablo since it dropped. Or do I feel the same way? Have my opinions changed? Life of Pablo, I think I was having trouble with it when it first came out. I was like, what the hell is going on? Which is not a bad thing for me. I like what the hell is going on. I like when I'm confused. Since then, I think it's definitely aged well. Like a lot of his albums. I think it's probably a little bit long for my taste. I think they're probably, like, if I were to make the Dom cut, if good music was like, Dom, we need you to make a cut of T-Lop, I would probably slice out like 5-6 songs or something to make the Dom cut. But I think Life of Pablo, obviously, great instrumentals, great rapping on there. Like, it's phenomenal. Come on. Life of Pablo. Beautiful. Thank you for that question, Oscar. Jeremy Conley on Twitter asked, out of all the original characters you've made, who is your favorite? Oh, man. My favorite. I've made a lot of original characters, but I think this character, Daniel, who is part of a supernatural, superhuman squad that I've been writing about. Daniel, I think, is the one that I'm most excited about right now. I'm most excited to sort of build out his story and his lore and the team that he's connected to. I think it's Daniel. I know there's not much I can say about him other than I guess he's in this image that you see in these videos. He's been popping in and out as I've been building out the new DSC universe, or at least just witnessing it, seeing it all unfold in front of me. And yeah, Daniel LaSalle is my favorite original character. Thank you for your questions, everyone. Thank you for coming through and showing your support for me and what I'm doing and trying to create with you all with this community. Don't forget, you can support me by going on domrabron.com/shop. Buy some merch. Buy a blue Cerberus shirt, perhaps. You can buy a print. For instance, this K-Dot one, which is a bestseller. You can buy this, and all of my prints and art and merch on my site go through the 3 demon process. I'm not going to tell you too much about that now, but you'll be learning about it in the future. That is what makes sure that we keep this level of quality, the 3 demon process. Patreon.com/domrabron. It's another great way for you all to support the show. I've got behind the scenes videos on Patreon, little tidbits, phone wallpapers, a bunch of extra stuff, and best of all, you are supporting what I'm building out. Stay creative out there wherever you are. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.